Once, long ago, in a land far away, there lived four little characters who ran through a maze looking for cheese and nourish them and make them happy. Two were mine, named Sniff and Scurry, and two were little people, beings who were as small as mine, but who looked and acted like people today. Their names were Ham and Hoa. Due to their small size, it would be easier not to notice what the four of them were doing. But if you looked closely enough, you could discover the most amazing things. Every day, the mice and the little people spent time in the maze looking for their own special cheese. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, possessing only a simple root and brain but good instinct, searched for the hard-nibbling cheese they liked, as mice often do. The two little people, Ham and Hoa, used their brain, filled with many beliefs, to search for the different kind of cheese with a capital C, which they believed would make them feel happy and successful. As different as the mice and little people were, they shared something common. Every morning, they each put on their jogging suit and running shoes, left their little home, and raced out into the maze, looking for their favorite cheese. The maze was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, some containing delicious cheese, but there were also dark corners and blind alleys leading nowhere. It was an easy place for anyone to get lost. However, the roads found their way and made health secrets let them enjoy their better life. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, using the simple trial-arrogant method to find cheese. They ran out to one corridor, and if it proved empty, they turned and ran down another. They turned and ran down another. They remembered the corridor had no cheese, and quickly went to new areas. Sniff would smell out the general direction of cheese using his break nose, and Scurry would blast ahead. They got lost as you might expect, with often wrong direction and often bumped into the wall. However, the two little people, Ham and Hoa, had very complex brains, which beliefs and emotion. The maze life and the maze were complicated and challenging. They relied on more sophisticated methods to find cheese, depended on real ability to think and learn from their past experience, or their ability was sometimes clouded by the way luck to think. Eventually, in their own way, they all discovered what they were looking for. They each found their own kind of cheese one day, at the end of the corridor in Cheese Station C. Every morning after that, the mice and the little people dressed in their learning gear and headed over the Cheese Station C. It wasn't long before they each established their routine. Sniff and Scurry continued to wake early every day and race through the maze, always following the same route. When they arrived at destination, the mice took off the running shoes, tied them together, and hung them around the neck so they could get to them quickly whenever they needed them again. Then they enjoyed the cheese. In the beginning, Ham and Hoa also raced towards Cheese Station C every morning to enjoy the tasty new monster that awaited them. But after a while, a different routine set in for little people. Ham and Hoa awoke each day a little later, dressed a little slower, and walked to Cheese Station C. After all, they knew where the cheese was and how to get there. They had no idea where the cheese came from or who put it there. They were just doomed to be there. As soon as Ham and Hoa arrived at Cheese Station C each morning, they settled in and made themselves at home. They hung up their jogging suit, put on their running shoes, and put on their slippers. They were becoming very comfortable now. They were becoming very comfortable now that they had found the cheese. This is great, Ham said. There is enough cheese here to last forever. The little people felt happy, successful, and thought they were all secure. It wasn't long before Ham and Hoa regarded the cheese they found at Cheese Station C as their cheese. It was such a large store of cheese that they eventually moved their home to be closer to it and built a social life around it. To make themselves feel more at home, Ham and Hoa decorate the wall with saying and even draw pictures of cheese around them, which make them smile. One read, "Having cheese makes you happy." Sometimes Ham and Hoa would take their friends by to see their pile of cheese at Cheese Station C and pointed to it with pride, saying, "Pretty nice cheese, huh?" Sometimes they shared with their friends, and sometimes they didn't. "We deserve this cheese," Ham said. "We certainly had to walk along and hard enough found it." He picked up the nice fresh pig and ate it. After all, Ham fell asleep as he opened it. Every night the little people would waddle home full of cheese, and every morning they confidently returned for more. This went on quite some time. After a while, Ham and Hoa's confidence grew into the arrogance and success. Soon they became so comfortable they didn't even notice what was happening. As time went on, Snip and Scurry continued their routine. They arrived there early each morning and sniffed and scratched and scurried around Cheese Station C, inspecting the area to see if there had been any changes from the day before. Then they would sit down and nibble on the cheese. One morning they arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered there was no cheese. They weren't surprised, since Snip and Scurry had noticed the pile of cheese had been getting smaller every day. They were prepared for the inevitable and knew instinctively what to do. They looked at each other, removed the running shoes they had tied together and hung conveniently around their neck, put them on their feet, and laced them up. The minds did not overanalyze things. The mind did not overanalyze things, and to the mind and problem and both simple. The situation at Cheese Station C had changed, so Snip and Scurry decided to change. They both looked out in the maze. Then Snip lifted his nose, sniffed, and nodded to Scurry, who took off running through the maze, while Snip followed as fast as he could. They walked quickly off in search of new cheese. Later that same day, Ham and Hoa arrived at Cheese Station C. They had not been paying attention to the small changes that had been taking place each day, so they took it for granted. They took it for granted. They took it for granted their cheese would be there. They were unprepared for what they found. What? What? No cheese? Ham yelled. He continued yelling, "No cheese? No cheese?" I thought if you shouted louder enough, someone would put it back. "Who moved my cheese?" he hollered. Finally, he put his hands on his hips. His face turned red, and he screamed at the top of his voice, "It's not fair!" Hoa just shook his head in disbelief. He counted on finding cheese on Station C. He stood there for a long time, frozen with shock. He was just not ready for this. Ham was yelling something, but Hoa didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to deal with them facing him, so he just tuned everything out. The little people's behavior was not very attractive or productive, but it wasn't understandable. Finding cheese wasn't easy, and it meant a great deal more little people than just having enough fun. Than just having and then just having enough of it to eat every day. Enough of it eat every day. Enough of it to finding cheese was the little people's way of getting what they thought they needed to be happy. They had their own idea was what cheese meant to them depending on their taste. For some, finding cheese wasn't having material thing. For others, it was enjoying good health or developing a spiritual sense of well-being. For Hoa, cheese just meant feeling safe, having a loving family someday, and living in the cozy cars on Shepherd Lane. To him, cheese was becoming a big cheese in charge of others and owning a big house top Camembert Hill. Because cheese was important to them, two little people spent a long time trying to decide what to do. All they could think of was to keep looking around Cheeseland Station C to see if the cheese was really gone. While Sniff and Scurry had quickly moved on, Ham and Hoa continued to hem and Hoa. Hoa started to get breath. What would happen if cheese wasn't there tomorrow? We'll make future plans based on best cheese. Tomorrow, we'll make future plans based on this cheese. The little people couldn't believe it. How could this have happened? No one had warned them. It wasn't right. It was not the way things were supposed to be. Ham and Hoa went home at night, hungry, discouraged. But before they left, Hoa wrote on the wall, "The more important your cheese is to you, the more you want to hold on to it." The next day, Ham and Hoa left their home and returned to Cheese Station C again, where they still expected somehow to find their cheese. The situation had changed. The cheese was no longer there. The little people didn't know what to do. Ham and Hoa just stood there, immobilized like two statues. Hoa shut his eyes, his tight coat, and put his hands over his ear. He just wanted to black everything out. He didn't want to lose the cheese supply had gradually been getting smaller. He believed he'd been moved all of a sudden. Ham analyzed the situation over and over, and eventually his complicated brain, with a huge belief system, took hold. "Why did they do this to me?" he demanded. "What's really going on here?" Finally, Hoa opened his eyes, looked around, and said, "By the way, where are Sniff and Scurry? Do you think they know something we don't?" Ham scoffed. What would they know?" Ham continued. "They're just simple minds. They just respond to what happened. We are little people. We are special. We should be able to figure this out." "I know we're smarter," Hoa said. But we don't seem to be acting smart at the moment. Things are changing around here, Ham. Maybe we need to change. and do things differently. Why should we change? Ham asked. We are little people. We are special. Is there things will not happen to us? Or does? We should at least get some benefit. Why should get some benefit? Hoa asked. Because we are entitled, Ham claimed. Entitled to what? Hoa wanted to know. We are entitled to wild cheese. Why? Hoa asked. Because we didn't cause this problem. Ham said. Somebody else did this. We should get some out of it. Get something out of it. Hoa suggested. Maybe we should stop analyzing the situation so much and just get going and find some new cheese. Oh no, Ham argued. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. Well, Ham and Hoa were still trying to decide what to do. Snip and Scurry were already on the way. They went farther into the maze, up and down corridor, looking for cheese in every cheese station they could find. They didn't think of anything else as finding new cheese. They didn't find any for some time until they finally went to the area of the maze where they had never been before. Cheese station N. They squealed with delight. They found what they had been looking for, a great supply of new cheese. They could hardly believe their eyes. It was the biggest store of cheese the mice had ever seen. In the meantime, Ham and Hoa were still back in Cheese Station C, evaluating their situation. They were now suffering from effects of having no cheese. They were becoming frustrated and angry and were blaming each other for the situation they were in. Now and then, Hoa thought about his mice friend, Sniff and Scurry, and wanted if they found any cheese yet. He believed they might be having a hard time, as running through the maze usually involves uncertainty, but also knew it's likely to wander left for a while. Sometimes, Hoa would make Sniff and Scurry find new cheese enjoying. He thought about awkwardly fearing him eventually in the maze and find fresh new cheese. He could almost taste it. The more clearly Hoa started imagining himself finding and enjoying the new cheese, the more he saw himself in leaving Cheese Station C. Let's go, he exclaimed all of a sudden. No, Ham quickly responded. I like here. It's comfortable. It's what I know. Besides, it's dangerous out there. No, it isn't, Hoa argued. We've run through the many parts of maze before. We can do it again. I'm getting too old for that, Ham said. And I'm afraid I'm not interested in getting all lost and making a fool of myself. Are you? With that, Hoa's feeling returned, and his hope in finding new cheese faded. So every day, the people continued to do what they'd done before. They went to Cheese Station C, found no cheese, and returned home, carrying their worries and frustration with them. They tried to deny what was happening, but finding harder to get sleep, had less energy the next day, and were becoming irritable. Their homes were not the glittering places they once were. The real people had difficulty sleeping and were having nightmares about not finding any cheese. But Ham and Hoa still returned to Cheese Station C and waited there every day. Ham said, You know, if we just work harder, if we find nothing, you're little chance that month. The cheese is probably nearby. Maybe they're just hid behind the wall. The next day, Ham and Hoa returned with tools. Ham held a chisel, while Hoa banged on the hammer until it made a hole in the wall of cheese station C. They peered inside, but found no cheese. They were disappointed, but believed they could solve the problem. So they started earlier, stayed longer, and worked harder. But after a while, all they had was a large hole in the wall. Hoa was beginning to realize the difference between activity and productivity. Maybe, Ham said, we should just sit here and see what happens. Sooner or later, they'd have to put the cheese back. Hoa wanted to believe that, so each day he went home to rest and returned reluctantly with Ham to cheese station C, but the cheese never appeared.